If you don't want to get better at small talk and you're okay with how you're doing things, don't listen to me, okay? But if you do want to get a little bit close, small talk often leads to bigger talk. And if you're interested in how that happens, keep listening. Welcome to my channel. I'm Katja, and there are two wolves inside of me. One has autism and one has ADHD. They fight, and sometimes they're friends. So come with me and let's explore the way these things interact. Listen, we all hate small talk. I know you hate small talk. You also feel a little lonely, though, don't you? So let's talk about small talk. I got some tips on how to engage in small talk in a way that can feel more fulfilling for you. So I used to think of small talk as this completely useless thing. What's the point? Nobody cares about the weather. Nobody cares about this or that. Like, let's not talk about the TV show that you've been watching. I don't care. But I ended up being extremely lonely, extremely alone. No, I just didn't. I reached a point where I was so socially anxious, I couldn't even talk to the waiter. I couldn't order a coffee at the fucking coffee shop. Okay. So let's get into how did I change that? I started having to practice. Okay. When I meet somebody, I have to listen. When they tell me their name, I repeat their name again and again in my head. I started to like look up what people's names meant. That's my first tip. Looking up what people's names mean. It's a surprising, interesting tip. But I had this new job. There were a bunch of people there. I started looking up what people's names meant, and it just changed my whole like, it added a little bit of interest into their name rather than just being a word. It means something. So it'd be like, and people's names mean stuff like prince or money holder or flying peace bird, and it's like kind of fun to like learn that stuff. Gives me a little bit more intrigue into learning somebody's name, and people really appreciate it when you're like, oh, hi so and so, and you have their name on deck. So, and practicing using people's names when I see them. So, one thing that was challenging for me, but that I tried to do imperfectly, is to remember that sex, religion, and politics are not really like a first time conversation type of thing to do. So, I tried to remember, do not ask them really, really intimate, personal questions about any of these topics. They're probably going to get uncomfortable, or they're going to tell you something that you might find offensive. So it's better to just save that for a little when you're closer, okay? If ever you want to talk about those things with people. So the second tip is to get clear on what your interests are. I'm sure you already know what your interests are. Now, there are ways to kind of segue things into being more closely related to your interests, to lead the conversation towards things that you're more interested in. For me, I think I've found it to be fairly easy. I kind of opened up my interests to be a little bit more inclusive. Does this make sense? So let me explain. So I love to paint, I love to make things, I love to read, and I love psychology. I love learning why people are the way they are. That makes things kind of simple for me. I think lots of autistics have this though, where people kind of confuse us. So it's fun to learn about why they do the things that they do. So, what I try to do is kind of move things to that direction. So, when I was first really, really practicing getting better at socializing, I started doing this thing where I would ask people about their creative stuff. I'd be like, what do you like to do on your free time? That is like kosher for small talk. Like that's a very um mild question, but people kind of enjoy talking about what they do in their free time, and people will say things like hang out with their friends, watch stuff, and so watching things is a great conversation topic for me because I love stories. I love reading and I love stories. And I think that hearing about what kind of media people engage in really shows me a window into what their psychology is. So you see how it kind of segues into my special interests. So then I start to ask, what kind of media do you like to engage with? What kind of do you listen to podcasts? Do you watch movies? What was the last movie that you really liked? And when we get into that, I get to start asking questions that I'm very curious about. So, say they've watched Squid Game recently. I can be like, oh my gosh, what did you think about this part or that part? I can start sharing stuff that I love to share about. One thing that obsessed with sharing about recently is about how I love stories where, well, nobody asked for this, but I love stories where humans are pushed to the brink to a point where they do something that they never thought they could do before. I really shouldn't be sharing this, but anyway, then I can talk about what interests them about certain stories. I can talk about what interests me about certain stories, what I do like or don't like about media that they've engaged in, even if I haven't seen it or watched it or read it. I can say, what is it about? And I get to hear how they tell a story. I can hear about a different story, and I really enjoy that too. I get people to talk about psychology. It's kind of like I'm studying them. It's so funny because it's like I used to think I was like maybe a con man because it's like I can use people for a means to an end. I don't want to be lonely, so I need to connect with people. In order to connect with people, I need to be curious about them. If I'm not curious about them, they are not going to see me as a means to an end, as a way of being known, as a way of feeling close. So it's like I give a little, I get a little. Does that make sense? It's like kind of changes the way it's like I don't want to be like a person that uses people. At the same time, it changes the way that I like it's just like being practical. It's like it changes my approach. It's like being practical about like socializing is important for my soul. And this is a way that a system that works for me. So those are just like I think that was really just 2 or 3 tips on like how I've been able to kind of change the way small talk works for me to make it as a segue into something more interesting. So tell me if that works for you. I wonder what your special interests are and if there are ways to kind of open them up and therefore make them accessible to others to enter into. Let me know if any of this worked for you. Give me a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. And comment if you got anything to say. Okay, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time.